This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Mosef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that BusinessDay television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Mosef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that BusinessDay television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
Good morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and you're tuned into the Business Morning Live show right here on BusinessDay television. And of course, we've got enough packed for you this morning. We're starting off with the morning news. We then move to the newspaper review. We'll bring you conversations on the show and wrap up with the social listening segment. We'll go on a quick break now. When we come back, it's the morning news. So stay with us. Welcome back to the BusinessDay Business Live show. I am Deborah Eze. Now let's see what's making the headlines. World Bank's Nigeria portfolio rises 45% to $17.5 billion in 4 years. Analysts expect CBN to hold interest rates at 26.5% as MPC meets today. Reps begin consideration of Tinubu's state police bill. And Andy Bonham, former journalist who rose to become UK Prime Minister. Now let's begin the news. Nigeria's portfolio with the World Bank has increased by 45% to $17.5 billion over the last 4 years, reflecting expanded financing support for key development programs and economic reforms. The growth in the portfolio has been driven by increased lending for critical sectors, including infrastructure, education, healthcare, agriculture, social protection, and economic development initiatives aimed at improving living standards and strengthening institutional capacity. Analysts say the rise in World Bank funding highlights Nigeria's growing reliance on multilateral financing to support development priorities and fiscal constraints. However, they note that the effectiveness of these funds will depend on transparency, efficient implementation, and ensuring that projects deliver measurable impact for citizens and businesses. The World Bank has continued to identify Nigeria as a key partner in addressing development changes or challenges, with ongoing programs focused on poverty reduction, job creation, and improving access to essential services. And moving on, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has scheduled the 306th meeting of its Monetary Policy Committee for Monday, July 20th and Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, amid widespread expectations that policymakers will keep the benchmark monetary policy rate unchanged at 26.5%. Analysts expect the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Committee to leave the benchmark monetary policy rate unchanged at 26.5% when it concludes its meeting today, citing the need to sustain the fight against inflation and preserve macroeconomic stability. Despite signs of easing inflation in recent months, economists believe policymakers are likely to maintain a cautious stance to consolidate gains in price stability, support the naira, and keep inflation expectations anchored. Holding rates steady would also allow the committee more time to assess the impact of previous monetary tightening measures on the economy. The MPC's decision will be closely watched by investors, businesses, and financial markets for signals on the direction of interest rate, inflation, credit conditions, and economic growth in the second half of the year. And in other news, the House of Representatives has begun consideration of President Bola Tinubu's proposed bill seeking to establish state police, marking a significant step in the push to reform Nigeria's security architecture. The proposed legislation aims to decentralize policing by allowing states to establish and manage their own police services while working alongside federal security agencies. Supporters argue the move will strengthen local security, improve intelligence gathering, and enable faster responses to crime and insecurity. The bill is expected to generate extensive debate among lawmakers and stakeholders, with concerns likely to focus on funding, oversight, and safeguards against the potential misuse of state-controlled police forces. If passed, the legislation would represent one of the most significant constitutional and security reforms in Nigeria's recent history. And so in the news, former journalist and longtime politician Andy Bonham has become the United Kingdom's Prime Minister, completing a political journey that has seen him rise from local journalism to one of the country's highest public offices. Bonham began his career in journalism before entering politics, where he served in Parliament and held several senior cabinet positions. He later became mayor of Greater Manchester, earning national recognition for his advocacy on regional development, transport, healthcare, and greater devolution of powers to local government. His elevation to Prime Minister marks a significant milestone in British politics. Analysts say his experience in both local and national government is expected to shape his administration's approach to economic growth, public services, regional inequality, and the UK's broader domestic and international policy agenda. And that does it this morning on the news. Up next is the newspaper review. Just stay with us.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Doreen is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
For 25 years, BusinessDay has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, BusinessDay now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new BusinessDay website today and experience the future of news.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. if you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape. Business Day is your guide.
Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today. Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
Welcome back. This is the newspaper review segment where we explore the major stories making headlines across the nation's newspaper. I am Deborah Eze, and of course joining me to analyze the headline this morning is
Mohamed Akonji. Good morning, Deborah. You know why we've done this together. I don't think I've seen you in only 2 weeks now. How are you this morning?
I'm very well.
How are you doing?
Very well. You know what they say about being scarred. You're not supposed to get used to me.
Very well.
I'm like old wine.
We're finding the right too. I love that. How are you doing? I'm sure you followed the World Cup anyway. I was not here yesterday and I would have loved to. I should chat about it. I know you're not a World Cup person. Even though you're a sport enthusiast, I'm sure it's one of your gym and exercises, your workout, and that is quite good. But really, I don't think I really see you talking about sport. Just like
if it's not wrestling, if it's fighting, ring, I don't want to talk about it because I still don't get the concept of I think it's 11 sport.
Of course, 11, 22. That's 22 in total.
Grown men running with football. It's absurd.
So what do you see in people fighting? What do you get in that? You see people fighting, shedding blood.
Yes, it feels so good. It makes me feel so good.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
There's a level of fulfillment.
You derive from that?
Right from it.
I'm so sorry. Are you a masochist? Is it because
okay, we're here. We're actually
the sport I hated the most.
Yeah, is what I love.
Is wrestling.
Why?
I don't like it, but it's just like that's the sport I hated. I don't watch.
I think because you're part of the people who like to what's the word? Associate wrestling to violence.
That's exactly what it is.
That's not what it is.
Okay, so what is exactly?
You put into it.
I know.
Creativity is put into it.
I just
sit down to actually script it.
Of course.
The plot. People you have to scout real life situations, real life talent, not group of people.
But you see blood. One of the thing I get squeamish about is blood, sight of blood. So maybe at the time I don't know. You see that boxing, what's the other one called? Is there what's the other sport called? This mixed martial art, what is it called? MMA, sorry. Okay. These are the sport I don't like in the widest imagination.
You should try it.
Football, tennis, athletics. Yeah, those are my sports. I mean,
Lizzie wanted to speak about the football with you yesterday, but unfortunately we couldn't have you.
Oh my God! Unfortunately,
so maybe wait till it's
actually like the wrestling now that actually be able to chit chat.
Exactly. We should be talking about SummerSlam and all of that. Anyways, let's take a look at what the front page is saying this morning. And of course, we're going to be starting off with the Business Day newspaper, our sister company, and the big story on the Business Day newspaper this morning reads: Nigeria regains Africa's venture capital crown after 4 years. Nigeria regains Africa's venture capital crown after 4 years. And that story can be seen on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. And also another big story on the Business Day newspaper, we have oil prices soar as attacks spread across Gulf energy routes. And that is also on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. And another one, after Business Day investigation, Nigerians demand probe of 210 billion naira duplicated allocation. And you can get that story on page 27 of the Business Day newspaper. On the top of the Business Day newspaper, we have First Old Coal delivers 1.93 trillion naira gross earning, 653.5 billion naira PBT in H1, first half of 2026. Interesting headlines we have this morning on the Business Day newspaper. But I would like us to talk about the Business Day investigation that actually happened. I got a knack of that story on Sunday.
Okay.
And that was because Atiku Abubakar actually reacted, to the story. I must say, amazing investigation carried out by the Business Day team, having to go through the beginning of the investigation up to the end, and how we found out that 210 billion naira was actually repeated. What do you have to say about this?
I mean, it is unfortunately the reality of Nigeria, or the reality of Nigeria, the reality of people.
Yeah.
But maybe I would not be able to pin it more Nigeria, but around people, our greed.
Okay.
I don't know the story that you've seen. Maybe after I can give you and ask about it. About 4 Nigerian police officers that extorted. They didn't know the man was an ICPC chairman.
Yeah.
They had an illegal checkpoint in Abuja, and they arrested him illegally, who bring him first into the POS and forced him to withdraw 53,000 naira, including charges. But not known to them that the man that he did so was the chairman of ICPC, Master Madam Aliyu. The story has actually been around. That is exactly what Nigerians are actually capable of, in terms of how greed, corruption, graft has eaten deep into, I think we can say, our bloodlines, or into how people behave. And this is actually a reflection of the same thing. Our investigative team, kudos to them, just like you've said, who are able to uncover all these and see how same line item was actually repeated, right? 6 times, in different, because if you look at the budget itself, sometimes, I think I feel like sometimes you have to be careful, because if you look at the budget item, we're talking about heaps and heaps of papers, right? That to be able to look at them line by line sometimes is actually, you have to be very meticulous in terms of checking all the items. But for the fact that we did this, that's why I say it's kudos to them. And it is a way of actually be able to put government into account. Perhaps they're not able to look at that angle to say, look at this particular item here, this particular allowance that actually been allocated, and it's been documented more than 6 times for us to have that. So, good thing we've actually been able to go back into that. We expect government to also be able to respond in that same light. Because if you see, I'm sure we're going to get to the stories, the unfolding story about the PFIPC, the Mr. Dini man. You saw what the CBN governor said yesterday about how the amount found its way into the budget, how they were able to open domiciliary accounts. And what I'm saying is, these are Nigerians, specific Nigerians, who are culpable, who are actually responsible for these, let's say, not lack of due diligence on their own part, or not doing what is actually expected to be done, to allow, or maybe for their own personal gain as well. Is that clear? Maybe somebody promised them something to say, put this there, this will actually be able to be your returns. But I think there are systematic issues, institutional issues.
Don't you think the fact that we are having this, don't you think it's a serious threat to transparency? Let me put it that way.
Okay, agreed.
I don't see why you're making it about the people. It should be about the government.
So what I'm saying is, the government itself.
What do you know from the
government itself
is
the people. A constituent of the people themselves. People are there, right? I'm just talking about selected individuals who could actually be responsible for fleeting in this particular amount, for fusing this amount, or putting a particular amount into the budget. So if we say the government, of course, we start with number one himself, the president, right? We have people in the ministry. We have people that are actually working at different cadre.
No, you're being more now.
What I'm saying is, I'm sure we will be able to pay for the government. I'm saying they are in. Okay, so for example, let me tell you about the story of the police officer that I told you about. They were just arrested yesterday after they have extorted 53,000. And what are Nigerians saying? Nigerian police force that came out to say 4 of our officers extorted illegally 53,000, but they didn't know the man was ICPC chairman. They don't know. Otherwise, they would have done that. So they have to bundle the man, took him to a POS person, collected 53,000 naira. The man was even forced to pay the charges, shared it. So what is people are now saying, now will it be fair to say Nigerian police force is corrupt? I don't think we should. These 4 people here are the culprits. Why should we not be able to deal with them? I'm not saying
not.
So if you have these bad eggs, we should not. I think it will be, I think, just unfair or injusticiable to use the crime of the few to be able to paint everyone. I mean, that's exactly what I'm actually talking about. So if the few people there, the bad eggs amongst them, if you can fish them out as they have done and deal with them as criminals and deal with them as corrupt, do you think it will be unfair? I don't have to agree with me. For us to be able to use the same paint to brush the whole Nigerian police force to say it's corrupt. I feel like that's exactly where it will be unfair. That's to me. These people are corrupt. We are dealing with them. People that are the bad eggs in the system, let's fish them out and deal with them. But for us now use the crime of the few to generalize to the general. And I was okay, I'm just using that as a case study. Okay.
How many police checkpoints did you encounter?
And I have said that if you see anyone now, they are illegal checkpoints. The IG, for example, the IG when they came in, the new IG, Tujidisu, immediately made that. Even the former one, the Egbeto Kuman that left, made that clarion instruction. All illegal checkpoints should be dismantled. So, but we have people there, despite that order, we still flaunt it, like the case of this people I'm telling you about now, who flouts that particular rule.
Nothing has changed, even while that order happened in Egbetokun's era. Nothing has changed.
And now that
I stay in the eyebrow part of Abulegba Farwa.
Okay.
When I say eyebrow,
of course,
like where things happen. And I must tell you that I encountered nothing less than 6 different police checkpoints.
On your way down
from
here?
my estate down, out
to Abulegba.
Yes, out of Abulegba. And this is no joke. I've had people come out to say, people who stay as far as Ikotun, stay in Yanopaja, before they get to their bus stops. I'm not saying their locations. Before they get to their bus stops.
Where's the bus stop? Like Ikotun bus stop, Yanopaja bus stop.
From their house to
their bus stop.
Yanopaja bus stop.
They make several
roadblocks. And these policemen are collecting money.
So that's exactly.
So you can't tell me that this is happening and they will not say the police system in Nigeria is corrupt.
So that means
we know the police system is corrupt. So let's not make an exception because you think that
so people I'm saying
because they have conscience and they are not doing what the others are doing. So that's what you're trying to say now.
So I'm not saying that. So for example, from my own estate down to this place, I can tell you. From where I stayed around after Ajah. I can tell you, I don't know last time I've seen police checkpoint.
Okay, you know I have people that stay after Ajah that also come to this office. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to
ask them about, for example, the police. Not to digress. I don't know last time I have made checkpoint on the way. I can't remember the last time. I'm telling you now. Because maybe I go because Abulegba is a very I'm talking about Ajah. My house Awuyaya, because I don't know from Awuyaya down to
I used to make that call. So
please ask Ogbongo.
Right down to I'm not talking about always complaining about asthma, always complaining of police checkpoints. But we should ask them to our investigative
and then see to it. But the question is, what I say is, for those things that you've made, the question is, have you escalated it as well? That Abulegba story you just mentioned, which is
of course.
So if you escalated, because they said if we see something, let's also say something. I think that's exactly what we do. So for you to have seen this and said, ask why is this happening? For the IG, the number 1 policeman in Nigeria, to have given the order to his boys, all roadblocks should be dismantled. And if some people are flaunting it, we know that
we have that roadblock that eventually led to the extortion of 3,000 naira.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they have arrested those ones. So now it was there. The police now told us about it. But we have to remember that it wasn't because they arrested a big man in court. Maybe they don't know him. Today, people know EFCC chairman. People know EFCC chairman, but maybe they don't know ICPC chairman. They never. Does that even? That's what I'm saying. Otherwise, that is exactly why this came to the limelight, which is good. The question is, how many countless number of people that would have been extorted, right? That would have gone under the radar, just like yourself, what you will be able to mention. But if you go back to this story as well, what I'm saying is, those insertions into the budget, those parted items into the budget, would have been done by people, government employees. That's what I'm talking about, right? Okay.
The same budget that actually passed through.
Thank you very much. Okay, so do you know the way the budget that passed? Maybe if you can bring me on a session, I will tell you the process of budgetary development. Because I remember in my school, one of my professors was actually working in the budget office, and he would tell us, because apart from, there are layers to it. You have your unit, for example, where you have your own budget that will come into it. Let's say Kayode has his own, I have my own, and it will go to somewhere. There's like a melting pot where you put all this together. Then from that point, it's calculated. Before you get to the president, who go and present at the National Assembly, there's a process. So if you be able to put your own budget and you have in those particular lines, so what I'm saying here is there are bad heads to the system, and it is worth for us to be able to work. So instead of painting the whole government as, oh, this government, yes, we'll still be able to pin it on them. But this has actually been done. My only worry and my concern is the fact that the government has not responded to this. And I think that is unhealthy enough. The government needs to come out and say, Atiku Abubakar did that. And that is the way of actually holding government to account. Let government come out as well and give us their own side to explain why there will be a line item that is mentioned as this, right? And repeated 6 times in the 2026 budget. But don't forget that the 2026 budget took effect from July 1. So we believe that the money must have been released. And this will be released 6 times. So we still expect government to come out. That's exactly my own concern with them. We want to see reactions. We want to see what is actually the reason for this that our people have actually investigated.
All right, let's now move on to other newspaper. This morning, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The big story on the Guardian newspaper is the ICPC story. ICPC's squeezes Baja Biamila as House summons key agencies over lapses. And that is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And also on the Guardian newspaper, group sues Umahi, IGP, others over Abila's death. And that is on page 7 of the Guardian. ADC demands full disclosure of 7.13 trillion naira energy security expenditure, and that is on page 7. Reps to harmonize Tinubu's state police bill with Senate amendment, and that is on page 4. And also we have Kwankwaso confirmed single-term pact with Obi, queries APC's Muslim ticket, and that is on page 6. And the Osun 2026 INEC begins PVC's distribution tomorrow, and that is on page 5. Still on the Guardian, at the top of the Guardian newspaper, we have the first old coal delivers 1.93 trillion gross earning, 653.5 billion naira in PBT in first half of 2026. And also we have that Tinubu has now borrowed 80 trillion naira, and that is Oyedele telling the Senate, and that is on page 3. And Tinubu announces 26 appointments, names Fayose Ari board chairman, and that is on page 3. And terrorists using drones, crypto to boost operational capabilities, UN wants, and that is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Which are you most?
Yes, okay. I think I will just quickly be able to read through them in a few minutes. So the first, I think, was a story that broke about Mr. Ayo Fayose,
yes,
the former ex-governor of Ekiti State. Don't forget, he's also a PDP member. Was recently appointed by the president as a chairman of one of the boards. 26 board chairmen, were announced yesterday, and he was appointed as the board chairman for Rural Electrification Agency, a very important agency in the Ministry of Power, because they're the ones able to see into electrification ability, electrification process for rural areas, most of the rural areas across Nigeria. And that has actually been able to generate a lot of ripples. People have reacted. In fact, one of the major reaction we saw came from his brother, his immediate younger brother, Isaac Fayose. I'm sure you know him. He's only talking. He reacted with his brother. I do feel like it's a step down for his brother. That's already coming from a governor, board chairman. Of course, their brothers are family members anyway. I don't think so. I don't think he has that point anyway. Personally, I know it's not my view. It felt like it's just a letdown that he should have jostled for ambassadors rather than as a board chairman. I don't know what he's actually having as a ground. But like he said, he's always talking, and I'm sure you know what happened 2 weeks ago. I mean, was it last week when he had those issues with the obedience people, and Peter Obi eventually went to visit him. So I mean, it was when I reacted, and other people reacted to it. But I'm sure that Fayose has actually been a very strong a very strong advocate of this administration. He has actually been a very staunch, and because of his loyalty to Wike and that particular camp, and right from 2023 anyway, I mean, that he was part of the G5, he was a very strong member of that particular group, and has actually been putting his weight behind him. I don't forget what I said, he's a PDP member, we shouldn't forget that, but I mean, he's able to secure his appointment under the APC. So I think we wish him the best of luck, and to be able to have the very best. But I think the other one there was Mr. Taiwo Idele. I mean, one of my very, very best minister. I actually respect him so much personally. No, I mean, I have very few people that I actually respect that way. He's actually one of them, because smart, and he understands what he's doing, and he understood the work very, very well. And he was in the Senate yesterday to explain about the borrowing challenge. I'm sure both of us have actually have that particular thing. That Nigeria did not have a debt problem. That's not our problem. Our problem is revenue problem.
We've always known that we don't have a debt problem.
It's when we think that they are borrowing today, the only thing that is borrowing. Exactly. Okay.
We've always determined, especially here in Business Day, that we don't have a debt problem.
Thank you very much. So the problem has been more of a revenue problem. And that's exactly what we need to be able to ramp up more. That's one is the problem, no doubt about that. Because if you look at IMF, debt to GDP threshold for IMF is 45%. Ours is within 21% or 22% of what. Go and see Japan, see US. These are most of the indebted countries in the world. Their debt to GDP has overshot the 45% threshold of what IMF. The World Bank standard is 35%. Maybe if you have time to go to discuss about it. And the man was saying, you have not borrowed 80 trillion that has added since after Buhari left. Was not borrowed. It was because of exchange rate adjustment. The unification of the exchange rate could have the problem. You can't rule out that fact. All of us understood, because why as much as possible we are able to bridge the gap, right? We're able to bridge the gap between the parallel market and the official market. The difference, the exchange rate, that's for what if FS premium in economics. The difference between how much you buy from the official market and how much you buy from their bookies. That FX premium that's as high as 200 that can create arbitrage has been closed. That you were there at the CEO forum, and I saw you there, and kudos to you for some of what you did there. We saw the CBN government, what he said, how they have been able to build the foreign reserves from a meager, a paltry, an unbelievable $3 billion to what we have now, about $51 billion in gross reserves, and about $41 billion in net reserves that we have on after the comeback. So the question is, I think, and that's what the narrative we should be pushing out there. Our problem is not debt. The problem is revenue. And how do we do about the revenue? That's exactly what we need to put government to account. Because very simply is the top line. You just have to be systematic, strategic enough to ensure that, or innovative enough, you can unlock other revenue sources. Oil has been a mainstay, no doubt, but can we diversify away from that? Has been a question, a discussion most of all this time. That's one. Foreign remittances now, look at Nigerians that Japa. One of the positive side of Japa, as we call it, is the fact that there will be remittance back home. People are expected to be able to, Nigerians here, we have this familiar relationship. So it's not a matter of saying, I don't want to, you always want to be able to go back to your family. I traveled, what can I do to send money back home to my daddy, to my mommy, my young? We always have that. Those remittances go a long way. That has contributed to our foreign reserves very well. So we need to divert, and that's what we should be telling the government over, they're going today again. They're going to borrow another one from China again. Everybody just started talking about it. It is funny, because the question is, the same IMF that will be quoting when, you see what the IMF has said, though, people are doing this. When IMF now gave Nigeria a very good response, they say, it's an international organization. And I think I really love that when he explained. And I'm sure, just to listen to yesterday. So he provided a very good context and background. But this morning, people have sharpened their sword. They want to cut him down. That what nonsense is he talking about? That is not a good. I mean, but maybe for us, you'll be able to, cut people some slack. Maybe they're not economics, sorry about that. And they don't really understand the dynamics of what actually operates there. So I try to give people those excuses. But the problem is not debt, Deb. The problem is revenue. And I think it's very important we get that. I think my other story that I took people able to jump on, so sorry, was I look at that there was Kwakwanso, I think I listened to that yesterday. The vice presidential candidate for NDC, who said that Peter Obi promised him. And I know you're my presenter here, you're the one asking the questions here, but do you believe in that he's going to use one term?
No, of course not.
Okay, but that's what he was confirming, that Peter Obi told him that he's going to use one term. That is
it's okay when APC actually comes out to say things that are entirely not true.
Okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay. This is very okay.
Ask his statement.
But
just what I'm saying here is, I love him for that. If he could be able to stick to his word, that would be good. If
at the end of the day
he cannot do anything, okay. Just like I just asked the question, sorry, that do you believe him? And I think you said you didn't believe him. I believe him as a person.
Oh, I don't believe him.
Are you serious? I believe that he will do that. You should honor his agreement. My worry, and And my concern is that now it's always good to be able to make promises when you are not there. When you get there, I started saying things. So I believe him now, but I do not believe him in 4 years' time. When we are going to 2031 and we are looking at the election ahead, and politicians started coming up with other narratives, say, oh, it's what I'm doing. I've not been able to finish this, so I need time to finish this.
Do you have a PVC?
Of course, I always watch. Okay. There's no way I'll never go after. I've been voting since 2011. I mean, since 2011, I have been voting.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Punch newspaper. The big story of the Punch newspaper reads, how CBN opened domiciliary accounts for phantom agencies. How the CBN opened domiciliary accounts for phantom agencies. And the rider to that big story, that's still on the PFIPC scandal. Yeah, and the riders, reps uncover new twist in probe. ICPC grills Baja Biamila, and more government agencies dragged into investigation as CBN civil service testimonies deepen controversy. And Lowell chairman summons SGF, IGP, AGF, Accountant General, Budget Officer, DG, RM, AFC, others to Thursday's plenary. And Kwankwaso, Obi signed one-term presidency accord. And that is on page 26 of the Punch newspaper. We also have 143 firms battle for 50 oil blocks today. And that is on page 19 of the Punch newspaper. At the top of the Punch newspaper, we have life sentence for Ansaru commanders linked to oil abduction. I think it's about time. And of course, we have inflation above 30% in 19 states. FCT, 19 states and the FCT, despite national easing. And still the first old coal story. I think that made it so
they gave us a report yesterday, and I'm sure, I don't know whether you have First Bank stock. I asked about 3 friends yesterday, and they were telling me they were spinning to the bank anyway. They just declared, but it's the PBT. I was going to be very careful. They declared profit before tax. We're still careful for that after tax yet, but it's fine. But I think it's the first story. That's the penultimate story before the last that you read. The Asylum number, the commanders, because I know, and I'm sure. I mean, I remember when Val was here with us together with you. You're always among these. Shoot them on side. Let them kill all these terrorists, which I think is fine. Abu Manan, what they call him, was actually, they were brought to the court yesterday. There are 2 ringleaders of this Ansaru group, Amamuda, the 2 of them. And they were given, in fact, the federal government said they are going to appeal it further to the higher court of appeal, that it must be death sentence, they don't want the life sentence, that it should actually be. And then, this is just like you said, I think I agree with you, these are what we wanted. So when people see these, they have to serve as a deterrence. Thank you very much. I mean, one of the people are from outside that want to be able to, cultivate such idea in their head, we feel like this is what will actually be your hand if you also be able to engage in this. So I think it's actually good that we see that. The other thing was what Mr. Oedele mentioned yesterday about, remember that for 11 months, inflation has been easing, even though before we had like a spike, slightly during the Middle Eastern war between US, Iran and Israel. And then we had like a relief as well this week when it was released again, last week, sorry. So what are we talking about? Despite that, do you know that inflation is still like more than 30% in most states? The man was able to tell us that, which means that we're not out of the wood yet. That's all. There is no reason for us to be able to, because we expect CBN to come up with CBN should release new interest rates today. Their July meeting is likely ending today, and they will tell us whether they're going to hold the rate or they're going to be able to step down on the rate. We're actually looking forward to that. But that is still a very, very concerning figure for the fact that inflation is still, trending above 30% for most states. The government needs to be able to get rid of kind of that. But my major story there, also I read, was the CBN meeting yesterday. I mean, we talk about that. And they said there's a domiciliary account for this phantom agency, as we call them. That's a dumb account that has dollar future into it, while there is a Naira account. And how a lot of things have been dragged into it. Because I remember I watched the investigation, and that by the head of service of the Federation, who was actually saying that the office that they claim they are using was actually belonged to the office of the secretary to the federal government of SSG. That's according to him. According to her, the woman there, the head of service of the Federation, said they allocated that office to the SSG. Is that SGF, the secretary to the federal government of the Federation, was whom the person was actually allocated it to. So I'm sure a lot of uncovering, we are unfolding a lot of things now around this scandal. But what I'm saying, and I'd like to know, is that there are institutional lapses. It happened anywhere in the world. So it's a learning process for us. Okay, sorry, I'm out of time. What do you think was responsible for the setting up of Homeland Security in the US?
What, please?
Good, because there was additional lapse in during the September 11. September 11 attack happened. The almighty US were attacked by terrorists out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And what was the reason? There was a lapse in the institutional lapses. It could actually be from because somebody was actually be able to like slip off on
decisions. Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Doris is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Welcome back to the Business Morning Live Show right here on Business Day Television. I am Deborah Eze. Now let's move to our topics of conversation this morning. Our first conversation, AI and the law. Who is responsible when artificial intelligence makes costly mistakes? Artificial intelligence is no longer just a futuristic concept. It is already reshaping how businesses operate, how decisions are made, and how services are delivered. From financial institutions using AI for risk assessment to companies deploying automated systems for customer service and recruitment. The technology is creating new opportunities, but also raising complex legal questions. As AI becomes more powerful, a critical question emerges. When an AI system makes a costly mistake, who takes responsibility? The developer, the business using it, or the machine itself? To discuss the legal implication of AI adoption, regulation, and accountability, we are joined by Anifowose Ibrahim. He's a lawyer with expertise in tech law, blockchain law, international law, and commercial law. Good morning, Ibrahim. It's good to have you on the Business Morning Live. Yeah, let's go straight into it. Artificial intelligence is, from what I from my intro, I explained that the intelligence is moving from experimentation to, everyday business operation. From banking and healthcare to recruitment and even down to customer service, companies are increasingly relying on AI. So what are the biggest legal concerns that businesses should be aware of as they adopt these technologies?
Well, the first thing this business should know in response to use of AI is that when they are implementing AI into their business, they are not just the software or something. They are actually absorbing a massive amount of liability. So for me, liability can be in 4 parts. And then the first one, I think, is mostly the hallucination risks of AI. That is, AI makes a lot of mistakes. And when you use it for a business, you are more susceptible to those mistakes that AI make. So you have to be very careful not to use AI in issues or areas that actually require, that actually life and death situations. For example, in medicine, when you use AI to recommend drugs and all of that, and then the patient takes those drugs and then leads to fatality, you will be responsible for those kind of issues, and that is like an hallucination risk for AI. And in 2024, the Stanford University in the US actually made a study, and they said between 58% to 82% of quiz that are given to AI come back as hallucination. But this AI actually hallucinates the answer and it gives the wrong answer most of the time. So those answers are not actually true, or they are actually misrepresentation. So the number one problem that businesses should be aware of when they use AI is the hallucination risks that they face when they actually use AI in their businesses. Number two is mostly the issue of professional liability. And professional liability relates to this. It also relates to number one in the sense of when AI actually misrepresents or gives it makes mistakes in its answers. How does it affect professionals in the sense of, for example, in the legal profession, if you use AI to draft legal briefs or maybe you use AI to draft legal briefs or an argument and present it in court, and some of the issues that AI raised or some of the case studies or some of the cases and sections that are actually raised in that legal brief do not actually even exist in the first place. And we are seeing this with Germany and other people doing it a lot. And in fact, there's even a US case, the case of Martha and Avianca, where 2 US companies actually used AI to draft legal briefs and submitted it in courts. And the court found that most of the legal cases and sections that were quoted in the briefs do not actually even exist in the first place. And the law required they were also made to even submit an apology to all the judges that were misquoted in the brief. And the third legal liability that businesses should also be aware of is data privacy, the issue of data privacy. And this is in the context of the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023, which protects Nigerians, especially when it comes to the use of their data and how can businesses use their data. How can businesses actually even implement tech and AI in the use of customers' data, especially when it comes to critical sectors like fintech, medicine, and others. So the question in regards to data should be, is the data used in kind of like anonymous way? Is the data used in a way that actually violates the privacy rights of the citizen? Or is the data even used in a way that even misrepresents or used to bias in the use of customer data? And then the last issue that businesses should also be aware of is, I think, the issue of intellectual property. When businesses use AI, who actually owns the data that has been produced by those, or who owns the draft example? This is the BusinessDay, and for example, BusinessDay uses AI to draft the content. Who owns the content? Is it AI? Is it the person? Is it the Nigerian law actually stipulates that there must be some kind of human effort that has been used in the creation of that data itself. That is, it is not sufficient to just use AI to create a draft or content. We also ask to use the human beings have been in the loop in creating that content itself. It is after AI has given a draft, we have then structured it, edited it, and included human creativity in that draft itself. So I think these are the four issues that most businesses or companies in Nigeria should currently be considering when they use AI in their businesses. Thank you.
Yeah, so very well said. But explain to us when an AI system makes a costly error. And when I mean costly error, let's take for instance wrongly denying a customer a service, or making a flawed business decision, or going as far as causing a financial loss. Where does the legal responsibility lie? Is it with the developer? Is it the company using the AI? Or does current law still have, a gray area when it comes to that aspect of AI?
So, generally, we have to be aware that current law in Nigeria, even globally, they're not created with AI in mind. So AI is a legal gray area that is an emerging area where a lot of countries and continents are actually just looking towards how do we regulate these new algorithmic errors and liability, and who is actually responsible for it. But generally, we have areas in law that already deal with general issues and the arrival of the use of AI, and the general question, or the questions that generally will pop up in the situation of negligence in the use of AI by a business, is mostly, for example, who is responsible. That is, we have to identify who is actually the person who would be responsible for that negligence. For example, in the case of medical field, where AI has been used to recommend maybe a drug for a patient, and that drug whether aggravated the issue for the patient or even led to fatality, or in finance where banks are using AI to deny people loans, or something along those issues. So the question would be, who is actually responsible? Then can liability will be without faults? For example, if someone in the business just deploys a third party AI, and they will also be responsible for the faults or the issues or the negligence from that third party AI, and how the legal and the existing legal framework actually deal with these issues. These are the things that we will be looking at if we begin to discuss liability in the context of AI. So I would try and situate where liability actually exists, in the sense of let's answer the question of who is actually responsible. So the first person in the pyramid will basically be the business. The business is always the baseline, and who's actually responsible in the first place. So a business who uses AI, but use AI to actually process customer data, for example, will always be responsible for the negligence that such AI has caused. So a bank that makes financial decision based on, for example, the financial audits that an AI does to deny a worthy customer of a loan, would actually be responsible in that framework, within the context of the use of that AI. So if they fail to actually validate AI's outputs in making that decision, this is especially in relation to tort law. Tort law, which is an existing framework of dealing with negligence in Nigeria, protects the customer in the sense of negligence, especially when it comes to the fact that the business owes the customer a duty of care. If the business chose to actually carry out proper diligence, that is, after AI has supplied them with an answer, they then went and checked. A human is in the loop to check if the data that AI supplied is actually correct, or is actually even this organization of that customer. And others, if in the medical sector, the AI properly looked at the medical history of that patient. If it didn't, if the business didn't go back and audit the result that AI gave, that business should be held responsible. Then the other person who is responsible in the firm is the products developer. Product developers in the sense of the software AI that people would use, for example, Gemini, which is owned by Google, ChatGPT, which is owned by OpenAI, and all others, Cloud, which is owned by Anthropic. So all of these people are the developers of AI, and they supply AI to businesses also, that is, big businesses who are looking to process their customers' data in the best possible way using modern technology. They would also be held liable, especially when it comes to the fact that in Nigeria particularly, a tech product is treated more like goods. So when you supply defective good to a customer, and that customer uses that defective good, or that defective good leads to really an issue for that customer, you will be held liable for that defective good that you have actually supplied. So OpenAI can be held liable for defective goods that they have supplied in terms of ChatGPT. But of course, the issue here is really the transnational law and international law, and how can we enforce transnational and international law governments in this case. So that will always be an issue when it comes to global tech companies that supply tech products like AI, ChatGPT, and Gemini. And then there's also the issue of shared liability. So we got to also look at contributing negligence. That is, if a developer provides a flawed software and the business blindly deploys that software, both of them will be held liable, not one person. So you have to look at how as the business and the developer actually contributed to that negligence itself. So how can you also hold both of them liable in the sense of the products that have been supplied and the business that deployed that product itself. And also, I think the last person that may also be held liable is also the person who uses AI. The person who uses the AI can also be held liable for the use of AI themselves. So let's say a tax auditor who uses AI, or a legal professional who uses AI to give responses to legal advice from their customers or stuff, or something related to that. That person can be held liable for the use of AI if the AI had led to negligence in the carrying out of their business. So generally, we can situate AI liability in these four places. That is the business, the developer, contributing negligence that's between the developer and the business, and also the person who uses the AI himself. So those are the four places I think we can currently situate faults or liability in the current landscape of the AI use in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. We're actually pressed with time, so let's wrap up this conversation by me asking, what is the one legal issue around artificial intelligence that businesses, the policymakers, and everyday Nigerians should start paying closer attention to now before it becomes a bigger challenge?
I think for now, the biggest issue is around agentic AI. And by agentic AI, I mean we are currently moving from the era of like chatbots in the sense you chatting with AI, autonomous, basically chatting with ChatGPT, chatting with Gemini. We are moving from that to AI that can actually negotiate contracts, trade stocks, and even execute business decisions independently. That is, We are moving from an era of chatting with AI to AI that can actually make decisions from us or us independently, and without any human being in the loop. So the issue here, or the legal gray area currently, will be that how do you mediate as a business? How do you get into the loop as a business by ensuring that AI, as much as you want to use it, doesn't become what makes the total decision or what makes the final decision for each of the business that you hold. So the area of agentic AI is a very popular issue that is already coming up, and most businesses are already implementing it. But as much as agentic AI will act as an agent, you are also vicariously liable for the actions that your agents are committing. So the advice I would give, I would separate it to three different perspectives. Number one is, for businesses, they should be a human in the loop. A human being should be in the loop. So validation of all physical automated decision should actually have a human being in the loop, and you should conduct AI assessments, AI impact assessments before you actually deploy AI, or even while deploying it. You should also update vendor contracts and even try and train their employees on AI use. Then for individuals should never blindly trust AI outputs. You should always validate it. You should always check it to ensure that they basically it actually ties with the reality of ground. Or you should also seek legal advice if you are unsure of AI issues or the outputs from AI. And then for policymakers, I think policymakers should also begin to kind of create corporate ability boundaries or for the actions of automation machine. So also, policymakers should also create sandboxes to basically regulate the use of AI and test them before they go fully into the market. And the last recommendation for policymakers should also be that they should create a specific AI law that deal with the context of use of AI. It may be industry by industry, or it may be a general AI law, but policymakers should begin to actively look towards the creation of the Nigerian AI law. Even by the end of the year, there should already be one that already deals with the critical issues that face businesses in Nigeria when they use AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Anifowoshe Ibrahim. It was really good to have you on the Business Money Live. All right, still to come after the break, digital health communication, the new frontier for healthcare awareness in Africa. Just stay with us.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas, we have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy transition, powering the future.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning Live. Let's now move to our second conversation this morning.
has the positive side and the negative side. The positive side is now everybody has access to information. Whether you like it or not, health information is everywhere. But the negative part now is that this health information, some of them are inaccurate and irrelevant. As much as we are trying to appreciate the fact that health information is trying to understand or make people understand how their health are being affected and how well they can better their lives through good health information, misinformation also can lead to confusion, and that alone can spoil all the good work that we have actually been trying to build with health information.
Right. So we often talk about technology in healthcare in terms of equipment and also systems, but like I said in my intro, information is also a healthcare tool. So how can digital health communication improve the healthcare outcomes in Nigeria?
Okay, so one thing, like I said earlier, health communication means communicating or breaking down health topics in a way that the layman or the common man can understand how it affects him or his family. Now, if you look at, let's take an example. You look at an health, let's say, content that talks about 5 signs that you have high blood pressure. You watch that content and you're like, you notice the signs and you could identify that, okay, these signs are actually relevant with me, or they are signs that I've been seeing. It makes you proactive. You know that, okay, I have these signs. These things are things that are common with me. So there's this proactiveness, and that actually improves health outcome, because now you know what to do, you are proactive about what to do, and it actually bridges the gap of it closes the gap of you having to wait to actually see the doctor or having to visit hospitals, when you can do simple remedies at home to actually take care of yourself and cure or cope or manage some of these diseases or infections.
So with misinformation spreading quickly online, especially around, we see misinformation around vaccines, diseases, and also treatment. What strategies can scientists and health communicators use to rebuild public trust?
In all honesty, I believe that building public trust does not mean that we have to put out more facts. Most people think that, when it comes to health misinformation, all I have to do is to debunk the myth, to try to elaborate or try to correct what already exists. That is very important. But I believe that we should actually lead with empathy first. People carry misinformation because they are scared, or sometimes they just want to exaggerate what already exists. So the first thing we need to do is to identify where the problem is. For people to be carrying misinformation, that means that there is a need for them to actually be informed. Now, when we identify that root problem, that they need to be informed, we will now start from there and correct the misinformation, number one. Then number two, we notice that communities actually have great faith in their religious leaders, their community leaders, local health workers. We need to make sure that these people are well educated about health. If you notice, if you go for an health campaign or a vaccination program, most times you have to seek for permission from the chief. Let's say it's a local community, you have to seek permission from the let's say the Bale or the chief, from the local healthcare center there, and all of that. So this just shows that people have trust in these people, like voices that they believe in already. So what we can do is, as we want good information to reach the local community, we have to first educate the people that they trust. First of all, we have to educate their local health workers, their chiefs, their like people that they majorly trust. We need to first educate them. Then, followed by that, we also need to start public health campaigns. digital public health campaigns go a long way. We have seen people like Aproko Dr. Adefunke build an entire empire from that. So I think that's something that we can do to actually gain public trust back. First, address the problem of misinformation. Make sure that we give out the right information. Then educate people that these communities trust, which includes their kings, their local leaders, and all of that.
So from a business perspective now, do you see health communication and digital health education as an emerging sector that young professionals can actually build their careers and venture around?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it is like the new oil money now. Let me put it like that, because healthcare is a whole lot. We need developers to build health tech apps. We need people, content strategists, content creators that can actually create content to address health communication. Contents that are relatable in terms of storytelling, in terms of making people happy, in terms of simplifying health knowledge. We also need people that can create strategies, content strategies, brand strategies for medical platforms. So like it's a whole lot. I believe that it is a growing aspect of the creator economy and also the health tech economy as well. And it is something that young professionals can actually tap into and create good ventures from.
So you from your bio here, you work with the WHO's polio eradication initiative. It exposed you to community level healthcare challenges. So what lessons from those experiences should policymakers and also businesses pay attention to?
Okay. It is very important to actually note that whoever you are making policies for are people that actually need them. We tend to overlook the fact that when we create policies or when we try to find solutions for problems, we are just trying to find solutions to them. You actually need to find solutions that people need, not what you think they need. And that was what I actually discovered. People in the community, they knew what polio was, but they didn't know what to do to prevent polio. They did not know how it even affects them. And we have heard of so many policies as regards polio, as regards, but what I've just discovered is that you cannot create policies on top without considering people that are under. If you're going to create a policy, you have to consider the people you're actually creating it for and make sure that it is what they actually need. You are implementing the policy for the people, not what you think will be suitable for them.
So looking ahead now, what opportunities do you see for partnership between scientists, technology companies, the media platforms, and also the government to help improve healthcare access across Nigeria?
Okay, I strongly believe that collaboration is the key. We all know that 2 heads are better than 1, but in this area, 4 sectors are definitely better than 1. Instead of each aspect, science, tech, media, and government trying to do their own thing separately, it is time for a collaborative effort. Science can give you evidence-based research. Okay, this is why this thing is happening. Media would help collect that information, okay, why it's happening, and then help with the reach, that is reaching people to actually understand what has been found out by science. Tech can now take that information that has been gotten, create maybe an app from it, write a very good and beautiful article. People in tech can write something very nice about it. Media projects that. The government work on this to actually implement policies that can actually help the society and our communities.
So if you had one message for young Nigerians who want to contribute to healthcare, but they don't necessarily want to become doctors, what would you tell them?
Okay, I would like to use my own personal story for this, just to wrap up. So I wanted to be a medical doctor, but I discovered that I couldn't do that because, JAMB score and everything. So I had to go into microbiology. And entering into microbiology, I actually saw that there is a whole lot. Healthcare is not just about being a doctor. It's not about being a nurse. It's not about being a microbiologist. It's not even about being a physiotherapist or any other profession that is linked with it. Healthcare is a big ecosystem right now. And the last time when I went for patient conference last time, I discovered that there were quite a number of people that were not even doctors or nurses that had or that developed apps that were in the health sector and health related ecosystem. And then it got me thinking that healthcare is actually beyond all of this. If you identify the problem in healthcare and you provide solution in it, honestly, you're already there. Either we need data analysts to analyze the patient data that we have. We need health communicators. We need content creators. We need designers. We need web developers. Like, it's a whole lot. I need people to stop thinking that healthcare is just about, the doctors, the nurses, putting on your white robes, your stethoscopes and all of that. It is way beyond that. And what I would just encourage such a person to do is, as much as you have passion for it, identify where the problem is, what solution you can provide, and consistently impact lives in that line.
Thank you very much, Ayomide. It was really good to have you on the Business Morning Live show.
Okay, so bye.
All right, that's been our focus today on the Business Morning Live conversations. The Business Morning Live continues after this break. Do stay with us.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. Business Day is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, Business Day is your guide.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Doris is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All welcome, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about business days. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to huge organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of Business Day. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with Business Day.
Business Day is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, Business Day has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At Business Day, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, Business Day fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. Business Day is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, Business Day is your guide.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
Welcome to the Business Morning Live Show, and still on the conversation about the economic reforms and corporate performance. We want to look at who is winning and who is struggling, and we still have Sonny Ibe Jr. with us. Before we went on that break, Sonny Ibe, I was asking about how the Tinubu administration argues that today's economic pain will translate into long-term prosperity. Now, looking at the corporate earnings and the business performance over the past year, are we beginning to see evidence that the reforms are working, or do you think companies are still largely in survival mode?
So, thank you so much. As I was saying, it's a dual sword in the sense that in areas, in terms of inflation, the administration has done well cutting the inflation rate from what it was. Let me take 2024. By June 2024, the inflation rate was about 33.9%. 91%. By last year, that's 2025, it got reduced to about 22.22%. Then, as I speak to you, we have 15.91%. So that's something good. It's a good indication for our economy. It restores investors' interest and desire to foreign investors, so to say, to invest in Nigeria. However, there are also certain areas, certain sectors that have been that are still struggling to meet the reality of the day. For example, the manufacturing industries, the SMEs, and what have you. These sectors are still struggling. There are little or no evidences to show that the economic impact, the economic policies are really working. But conversely, on the other hand, the banking sector, oil and gas industry, and telecommunication industries are doing pretty well. And I think it's because of some of the changes that have been made so far in this administration. So it's a two-way thing. While some sectors, some organizations are actually, reflecting the good side of the whole economic policies and changes, we have a whole lot of others that are still struggling, and it reflects on the life of the average Nigerian on the streets.
Good thing you mentioned the companies, the sectors that are struggling. But some sectors, particularly banking, the telecommunication, and also parts of the oil and gas industry, they've actually posted impressive profits despite all of the challenges that the economy is going through. What explains this resilience, and are these gains sustainable, or they're largely driven by inflation and the exchange rates effect?
Well, the reason is simple. It's structural. Those sectors have structural advantage over the other sectors I mentioned. I mean, the SMEs and the manufacturing industries. The oil and gas, the banking, and the telecommunications industries. There, for example, let me use the banking for example. Interest rate currently is 25%, and this reflects on their profits. Zenith Bank just last 2 months declared first quarter profit of about 360 billion naira. So other banks too have been doing the same part. When we talk about the oil and gas companies, these are companies that thrive with regulations around foreign exchange, which has been very, very favorable to them. And this cuts across. So these reasons are the reasons why they are doing well. And the SMEs and the manufacturing industries are struggling, which is also affecting Nigerians adversely to a very large extent.
So anyway, we've seen several multinational companies either scale back operations or they exit Nigeria altogether. And while indigenous firms appear to be expanding into the spaces that, these multinational companies have left behind, does it signal growing confidence in local businesses, or does it point it to deeper concern about Nigeria's operating environment?
It simply reflects both opportunity and concern. Opportunity in the sense that the indigenous companies are filling in the gaps that are now left by these foreign multinationals like ShopRite and others. But concern in the sense that these would scare foreign investors, because the companies, the multinationals that are leaving, they have their reasons for leaving. And if they have their reasons, to what extent will the indigenous companies that are coming in to fill in the gaps, succeed and thrive amidst such reasons? For example, high cost of operation, high cost of electricity, and all of that. So it's a two-way thing. But since it is an opportunity for the indigenous companies to step in, it also calls for concern, and it portends danger from the side of foreign investors to the Nigerian economy.
Let's move to inflation now. We understand that inflation may be moderating, but then on the flip side, interest rates remains elevated. As the central bank's monetary tightening struck the right balance between controlling inflation and supporting business growth, or is access to affordable capital becoming a major obstacle?
Well, I will give, like I said earlier, I will give central bank the credit to some extent in the area of inflation. Like I said earlier, for curbing inflation, at least from 2024, from 33% to approximately 16% that it is right now. It's a good one for our economy, and it helps in strengthening some of the sectors. However, like I said earlier, some of the major players, some of the most important sectors are still struggling. The manufacturing industries, the SMEs, these are the big players. These are players that the activities and status reflect on the the population. So while we give them credit for curbing inflation, I still feel strongly that a lot has to be done in terms of financing the SMEs and manufacturing industry, in as much as to help curb the suffering and the hardship on the masses.
All right. The foreign exchange reforms, it have improved liquidity in parts of the market, but the naira still remains volatile. From a corporate planning perspective now, do you think the exchange rate unification created more certainty for businesses, or are there companies still struggling to make long-term investment decisions?
Of course, it creates some sort of confidence in the minds of investors, especially foreign investors, because the exchange rate volatility is something that scares investors, especially foreign investors. So for some time now, we've had relative stable exchange rates, given the unification of the exchange rate by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that has stabilized certain things to a large extent. However, policy clarity and policy consistency matters a lot. It goes ahead to tell us how sustainable these policies, these reforms will affect our economy to a very large extent on the long run.
This part of the conversation is actually the one that concerns Nigerians, you and I. We've seen many listed companies, they've announced record revenue, but the ordinary Nigerians still continue to feel financially squeezed. It does not reflect in the pocket. Do you think there is now a widening disconnect between the corporate success and also the economic realities? And what does that mean for sustainable growth?
Of course, there is a disparity between these profits, these declaration of revenues by our industries, our organizations, with what the average Nigerian, it is true. Now, for example, like I said earlier, the interest rate currently is 25%, and 25% puts the banking sector ahead for them to make a lot of profit. So they make a lot of profit, but this profit does not translate to the average Nigerian having a very smooth sale in terms of cost of living and all of that. So there's a great disparity between these two, and you should know that there's a difference between revenue and prosperity. Prosperity is it's universal. It's how I put it. It's all round. But the banking sector, the oil and gas industry, the telecommunication industry could be making all this profit, and yet we still have the population suffering. We are talking about a population that survives in what I call a bag of rice minimum wage of 70,000, because 70,000, the minimum wage today can get you a bag of rice, and then the leftover would be a transport fare to take it back home. So while these industries and organizations are making these profits, it's not reflective on the population in terms of the cost of living, in terms of ameliorating hardship and other essential indices. So it becomes danger.
Who advises organizations on communication and also reputation management? How important is corporate communication during periods of economic uncertainty, and can the way a company communicates with investors, employees, and also customers materially affect its performance?
Absolutely. Corporate communication is the heartbeat of any organization.
As you know, the government is an organization, although it is enlarged and that's its own uniqueness and all of that. For some time now, research have shown that global market research have shown that organizations that have good and credible corporate communication strategies come out from crisis faster, because trust affects uncertainty. Trust reduces uncertainty. So for some time now, you would observe that in the modern world and in contemporary times, that corporate communication or communication is no longer treated as a support function of organization, but it's now a core strategy of any organization. And a government or an organization is as good as its corporate communication strategy. So when you have a viable and a very credible corporate communication strategy and model, is as good as providing brick walls and sustainability for that administration or for such organization anywhere in the world.
All right, looking ahead now to the next 12 to 18 months, which industry do you believe are capable to actually see growth? That's 12, 18 months. And which sector do you think will require additional government intervention or policy support to remain competitive?
Well, the sectors that I really feel would do well or will continue to do well in the next 12 to 18 months are we have the oil and gas industry, the banking sector, the telecommunication sector, renewable sector, technology as a whole. Like I mentioned earlier, the telecommunication industries, the financial services providers and oil and gas industries are already benefiting from this whole economy and the policy reform. But then, conversely, on the other hand, like I also noted initially, the manufacturing industry, the agricultural industry, and SMEs are struggling. The government needs to, provide more financing into these, industries, and then make their logistics and the operational costs cheaper for them. This will translate to helping the citizen. This will translate to helping the Nigerian, citizen reduce the level of suffering and level of hardship that is currently ongoing in the country.
So, this conversation would not be complete if I don't ask you the policy adjustments, that will be required. So, just give us 3 policy adjustments that you think can help struggling businesses without having to derail the government's reform agenda. And what would they be and why?
Oh, okay. First, if I were to be advising this government in the area of policy adjustments, the number one thing I would tell them to do is that more financing should go towards the areas of manufacturing industries, the SMEs, and then to make sure that their energy expenses, their electricity bills, their logistics expenses are reduced. This will help to moderate costs. It will help to reduce price. It will be a good one for the average Nigerian out there. Secondly, I will advise that there should be an acceleration of reforms in the power sector. Power is a very vital, is a very important, factor when it comes to an economy thriving. And the fact that we still have epileptic power supply and high cost of power electricity in Nigeria affects our economy. I will give you an example. South Africa, that has a population of 64 million, generates a daily megawatts of 30 to 35,000 megawatts daily. Nigeria, with a population of over 240 million, generates between 4,000 to 4,500 megawatts daily. Now, South Africa, in relation to its GDP, ranks as the best economy in Africa. Nigeria is fourth. On the global ranking, South Africa ranks 38 and Nigeria ranks 68. This shows you how far, reforms on power sector, electricity, energy sustainability how far you can take an economy. So that reform on power sectors to accelerate power sectors reform that will reduce cost of electricity and provide consistent electricity for power supply is very, 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 very vital. And renewable energy also be leveraged in, just like what Dr. Mustafa Abdullah is doing with the ECN, that's the Director General of the ECN, trying to solarize institutions, organizations, and SMEs and all of that. It helps to sustain these businesses and these organizations, and they translate to helping Nigerians, to live a better life and, a life that is not very, very, very expensive. Then lastly, I would advise the government to ensure policy clarity and policy consistency. Then regulational certainty, and then enforcement of contracts. These are the three vital areas, three vital things that foreign investors look after. And when these things are put in place, I assure you, it will shape our economy, and to a very large extent, in the next 12 to 18 months, our economy will blossom, and we'll be competing with other economies in Africa, like the South African economy and other economies outside Africa.
Thank you very much for your time, Sonny Ibe. It was really good to have you on the Business Morning Live Show.
My pleasure.
And of course, we're speaking to Sonny Ibe Jr. He's a public affairs analyst. And that's the much we can take this morning. The Business Morning Live Show continues after this break with the social listening. Just stay with us.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas. We have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy transition, powering the future.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of Business Day. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with Business Day.
Business Day is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, Business Day has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At Business Day, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, Business Day fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. Business Day is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, Business Day is your guide.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
And you're welcome back to the Business Live morning show. And of course, if it's sparking conversation, then we're bringing it to your seats. Welcome to the social listening segment, where we bring you the stories, debates, and moments generating conversations across social media. I am Deborah Eze. And now let's get into what's making waves online. For the first conversation today, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has called for the integration of Arabic education. We'll go on a quick break now. When we come back, we're going to have the stories. Just stay with us.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight. And welcome back. For the first conversation today, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mrs. Oyinkansola Badijo Okunsoya has been elected the 33rd president of the Nigerian Bar Association, defeating 2 other senior advocates in the association's 2026 national officer election. She secured 12,370 votes, representing 47.18% of the total votes cast, to emerge victorious and will lead the association for a 2-year term from 2026 to 2028. Chairman of the Electoral Committee of NBA, Aham Ejilam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, announced the result at the NBA National Secretariat in Abuja on Sunday after the conclusion of the election, which experienced delays due to technical challenges and a cyber attack. Mrs. Badijo Okunsoya's election also marks a significant milestone in the issue of the association, as she becomes only the 2nd woman to serve as NBA president after Dame Priscilla Akuye, who held the office between 1991 and 1992. But let's take a look at some of the reactions to this story. And the first reaction from Bernard, and it said, "What a historic win for Mrs. Oyinkansola Badijo Okunsoya San, and a powerful moment for women in Nigeria's legal community." And of course, the second one from Akwa Ibom Watch, and he or she said, "The landmark victory is being celebrated as a major step for gender inclusion and leadership in Nigeria's legal community, inspiring more women to pursue leadership positions across professions." And congratulations to Oyinkansola. Congratulations to Oyinkansola Badijo Okunsoya San in this milestone achievement. Hoping our leadership brings about the much needed change the judicial arm needs. And another reaction from a surgeon Rita, and she said, "I love seeing women excel in every profession, and I look forward to the day Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala becomes the president of Nigeria." Big congratulations. And this is actually, one of the points where Nigerians would love to see that women can do anything that men can do. And I also believe that women can do anything that men can do. And there's really not much to say about this. Hopefully, more women, this will inspire more women, to put themselves forward when it comes to leadership position, and not to have to shrink themselves, because at the end of the day, it's about the work. It doesn't have to do with the gender. It doesn't have to do with the fact that, it's a man or a woman. Big congratulations to the new NBA president. And I really wish her luck in this big milestone. And for someone like her, I don't even think she needs luck, because, it takes more than balls to actually dominate a space where we've only had one woman, and that was in the year 1991 to 1992. So I really don't think she needs luck. I'm sure she has it covered. But let this be a point of inspiration to the young girls out there, you, me, who think that, we cannot achieve anything we want to because we are women. At the end of the day, leadership is not gender-based. It has to do with you putting your talent forward and proving yourself to be, in the position to get things done. Anyways, let's move to our second conversation today. A Cross River State sitting in Calabar has sentenced a 51-year-old apostle, Ubong Basi Etim, to death by hanging for the mother of his 16-year-old daughter, Deborah Basi, who had Down syndrome and was falsely accused of being a witch. Justice Blessing Ego of High Court 11 delivered the judgment yesterday, finding Etim guilty of murder and ordering that he be executed by hanging. Let's take a look at some of the tweets. And of course, the first tweet from Obi Movement for Nigeria said, "Christianity in Nigeria is gradually becoming something else." This is really sad. This is really, really sad. How do you take a teenager's life and call her a witch? I'm happy the rule of law took effect immediately. Another one from Izigwe. He said, this breaks my heart. A 16-year-old girl with Down syndrome killed by her own father, a man of God in Kege. This is not Christianity. It's madness. We must protect the most vulnerable among us. Rest in peace to the innocent soul. Another one, accusing a vulnerable child of witchcraft and taking away her life is a tragedy that no belief system can justify. Justice for Deborah is important, but so is the bigger lesson. Society must protect the most vulnerable among us, especially children living with disabilities. Another one from Bunches, and he said, he's definitely not a pastor. A false prophet, I guess. No real pastor will commit such deliberate offense. And finally, from Damilola Adegboye, and she said, he sent her to America, and I'm happy he was sent to. This is what they mean when they say, I hope your lawyer has a lawyer that can lawyer his case if he fails to lawyer you. The fact is, I know one thing that comes to my mind when it comes to conversations like this is, how did we get here? How did a child lose a life because of, superstition and an allegation that is not even true? And this is where, I would always say illiteracy is really a disease, to be honest. In all of this, it just has to do with illiteracy. Because imagine a father who doesn't understand. Let's even take away the fact that he's a pastor. I don't even, when it comes to pastors and bishops and religious positions, I really don't pay so much importance to it, because I believe that they are all human like us, and they just use, the tag to get away with certain things. That is my belief. Now, a father who doesn't understand what it means to have Down syndrome, or what it entails to have Down syndrome, really, because of the rate of illiteracy, will automatically think that, I think my daughter is a witch. Because you can actually see that other 16-year-olds, your daughter is not behaving like other 16-year-olds. Other 16-year-olds, are behaving in a certain kind of way that the society sees as normal, but yours is, showing attributes that does not seem normal. I'm really glad that the court has delivered its judgment, and at the end of the day, when it comes to judgments like this, model judgments, I don't believe any form of judgment can actually undo the tragedy that has happened. A father killed his daughter because she has Down syndrome. Whether or not he's being sentenced to death, it doesn't take away the fact that there was nobody to protect this vulnerable child. There was nobody to stand up and speak up for her. And there was really nobody to actually hold her hand, going through all of this. And some times ago, I had a conversation here, and I was, speaking to my colleagues, and I told them that, first of all, anyone who would bring a child, that this child is going to have some unique abilities, because I don't like to see it as abilities, some unique abilities, and then you bring the child into the world. I term, the parents wicked. And that is why I started with the fact that I think it's illiteracy. I think maybe they didn't know that, they're having a very special child. But at the end of the day, it is not an excuse to take your own child's life. It is barbaric, it is insane, and I'm really glad that the courts have given their judgment. And I really hope that, we can build a system that can protect children from situations like this, especially children who are living with disability. And let's move on to the third conversation that we have this morning. For the final conversation today, Sir Keir Starmer has formally resigned as the United Kingdom Prime Minister, saying, "My work is done," verbatim, as he handed over power to his successor, Andy Bonham, after 2 years in office. In his farewell address outside town 10 Downing Street on Monday, Starmer reflected on his time in office and expressed pride in his government's record. The outgoing Prime Minister also pledged his support for Bonham as he prepared to assume office. Let's take a look at some of the tweets. I think there's a video. Let's have the video.
I'm about to visit His Majesty the King to offer my resignation and close the book on my time as Prime Minister. My work is done. In 6.5 years, I took our party from a historic defeat in 2019, changed it so it was fit to face the country, and won a landslide general election victory in 2024. Since then, it has been the privilege of my life to serve you and this great country as Prime Minister. And I am confident that Britain is now stronger and fairer than it was 2 years ago.
Now, the first reaction from the Testament podcast, and it says, "It failed woefully, and I think Nigeria politicians should emulate his venture. Once you fail, step outside and allow one with capable with capable hands take on the helm of affairs." I think that's what this person was trying to say. Another reaction from Kismet, and he said, "This is what noble men do, men that care about their nation and the future generations. If Tinubu cared about Nigeria, this is exactly what is expected of him to do." And the final reaction from AM Fadil, and said, "It is truly remarkable to see the UK heading towards its 7th Prime Minister in just a decade. This level of political turnover makes long-term policy planning nearly impossible now." I just have a few words to say about this. At the end of the day, politics is not anyone's birthright, right? It is not permanent. When it comes to a time where you have to hand over, because at the end of the day, leadership is a relay race. You're not just the only one on the track. Anyways, I wish both parties luck, and let's see. There are talks about Starmer not, being a failed prime minister. He failed woefully. They are actually like school of thought and talks about that. But let's keep our fingers crossed and see how Bonham would actually take on the helm of affairs and lead the people of the United Kingdom. All right, this is where we come to a close on our conversation, making the waves on social media on the social listening segment. And of course, until we come your way tomorrow, 8 a.m. same time, we're going to be starting off with the news, the newspaper review. We then head over to our topics of conversation and then round up with the social listening. Until I come your way again tomorrow, my name is Deborah Eze. Have a beautiful morning.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark ANO gas project delivering first gas, we have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Doreen is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All welcome, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about business days. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to huge organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
We're going to be making a presentation to the governor of the central bank. Let me, as I said earlier, just remind us that the governor is here at this event with Mr. Lamido Yuguda, the Deputy Governor in charge of financial system stability at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Mr. Yuguda, we welcome you very warmly. As I said, we'll be making a presentation to the governor, so I'm going to invite Mr. Governor to come up, and once you are up, you don't have to go and come again before we have the fireside chat. Let me also invite the Dean of the Lagos Business School, Professor David West, who is a Director on BusinessDay and Chair of BusinessDay's Governance Board Committee, to make the presentation. It is our appreciation of the presence of the governor this morning. As you will recall, we made a presentation to the minister before he delivered his speech. So the governor will be getting this same presentation even before he speaks this afternoon.
On behalf of the board and management of BusinessDay Media Limited, at this 2026 CEO Forum, the 14th edition, Mr. Governor, it's our honor and pleasure to present you with this token of our appreciation for giving up your time and dedicating this time to spend with us and the chief executives in Lagos today. Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much.
Where do you want us? Yeah. Governor, I told you you have to move for that.
No problem.
This side?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Well, Mr. Governor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the moment that you have been waiting for. I have had the opportunity to deal with many, not so many, several governors of the central bank. My experience is they will call me to push a particular story. And I was not even close to them. He has never called me to push any story. Never. If anything, the closest to that would have been some months ago when I complained about something. And he said, Frank, we will discuss. And I failed to call him because I knew I was going to lose in the conversation. But this afternoon, we're going to have, I believe, a very exciting conversation. And I'd like to start by congratulating the governor for the award of the Central Bank of the Year, which the governor and the bank just received. As journalists, we tend to be very cynical. And we always expect the bad things to happen. When good things happen, like the whole world conferring an award to a Nigerian institution, sometimes we are too shocked to even talk about it. But I think we should talk about it. It doesn't happen all the time. So, Mr. Governor, once again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So it's 3 years of very well choreographed reforms. And as I said earlier, we are now not just looking for signs. We are indeed dealing with things tangible, things substantive that are the result of the work that you are doing. But let me start by asking you, what would you describe as the biggest success of the policies of the central bank over the last 3 years?
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you. Now, let me, before I answer that question, let me congratulate you and Business Day. The Business Day under your leadership, from what I recall, has marked 25 years. 25 years of quality, reporting, responsible reporting. And when we talk about institutions that can hold the flag up high and very, very well represent the good in Nigeria, I'm sure you'll all agree with me that BusinessDay is one of them. So I'd just like to encourage you, continue the way you're going. And many times, as I'm sure we will find during the course of our discussion, you think that the international community aren't watching, but they are. And we're very proud of what BusinessDay has been able to accomplish. Well done. Now, in terms of the policies that the central bank has embarked upon, and your question directly is, what do we see as the major outcomes of this? One of this would be, of course, and the major thing for many here, I know, and for many Nigerians, is the whole issue of the foreign exchange market and how the foreign exchange market has moved from one with considerable opacity, where difficult to plan, not really knowing what it was all about, to a situation where we have unbundled that and now have a foreign exchange market where the multiplicity of exchange rates, which we were all used to for decades, has disappeared. So that is one of the major things. And, sometimes it's easy for people to forget. You forget that at one point in time, you had to scamper everywhere looking for how to buy your foreign exchange, no matter how small. Even if you are just going on a trip to London or US or Kenya, anywhere, it was a chore for you to have to find foreign exchange to buy. Talk less of those who were in business and couldn't get foreign exchange, as a result of which some were able to get it at a different price from what you eventually got it at. Now that is a thing of the past. We have a situation where those multiple exchange windows have been collapsed. And something, again, that should be dear to the hearts of many people here. When you travel today, you go with your Naira card. It works. And let's not forget something. What does that mean? It just doesn't mean that, I've paid for a good and I've gone away. No, it's beyond that. It has brought back the way the outside world looks at us. In the past, you go there, card doesn't work, can't pay for your goods, they look at your Naira card, they throw it back at you. Not any longer. Secondly, the differential in exchange rates is down to a bare minimum. Thirdly, very importantly, the level of our reserves. And that is why I say many times, the work speaks for itself. Anybody that wants to argue about what the impact of these reforms have been, go and look at the reserves figure. As at yesterday, we were hovering, I believe, about 52 billion. When we started, the net exchange reserves the net reserves figure was in the region of about 3 billion plus. And if you remember, that was a figure that was published at the time by JP Morgan, if you remember, and created a lot of panic in the system. More recently, our net reserves figure, net, is in the 40s. So it's a long and difficult journey. But one message I would like to give to everybody from this particular question is that there has been regime change in the Central Bank of Nigeria. And that regime change is what has brought about these outputs that you are all talking about, the outcomes you are all asking about. And we intend for that not just to continue, but to even get better. Thank you.
The work and the results speak for themselves. And I'm sure that's a point that we all will be agreed on. I want to just take this a bit further. What would you say, because you're addressing mostly CEOs and C-suite executives in this place this afternoon, what would you say are opportunities that they are probably underestimating that going forward they should be taking due advantage of, Mr. Governor?
Yes, thank you very much. And that is a good question. And I must say, it is a question whose answer worries me at times. And I'll tell you why. You see, a lot has happened over the course of the past 3 years with respect to exchange rate policy, monetary policy, financial system stability. A lot has happened. Now, the question is, now that we have accomplished these things, and now that the outlook is positive, do we have our local entrepreneurs and CEOs who have confidence in the continuity of this? That worries me. And I'll tell you why it worries me. Because we sit in a particular place where we see an enormous amount of interest from outside. Enormous amount of interest. They've watched very keenly. They've seen the road of travel. And they are getting closer, and in some cases, investments are being made. And you'll be hearing of some of these things as time goes on. These are not things to be kept secret. You will hear of huge investments being made into our economy as a result of the stability that has been accomplished. You will see it. It's already happening. I hope that our own leadership in many of these companies and many of the CEOs you have here will recognize that and will not be afraid and will not hold on to muscle memory, thinking that things are still as they were before, or that they can't last the course. Because that's the biggest mistake you make. And it shouldn't be that by the time you wake up to the situation, the horse has gone on and bolted. So, in a nutshell, I do believe that where we are now, we've achieved that hard-earned stability, and with stability comes potential for investment, and with investment comes growth. And all our local CEOs should be part and parcel of that train that is moving.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the applause. I think that's a very direct talk to CEOs in the room. be sure that you don't come out after the horse has bolted. At Business Day, we believe that the domestic investors need to move, and it is in their moving that you actually get foreign investment to come. So we think that the governor's invitation to CEOs in the room to begin to move now, because the opportunities are there, is a very good point to make. I want to pivot to something else, Mr. Governor. This year, you had provided, or the central bank had provided, a guidance that indicated that we should expect rate cuts. Given the situation that we have, we surveyed 20 economists before today's event, and most of them believe that the central bank will be holding rates when it meets next week. The question I ask you, Mr. Governor, is what are the conditions that the central bank is seeking to return to that initial guidance for rate cuts this year? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. And I think it may be necessary for me to give some context here. Now, bear in mind that as a result of the tools at the disposal of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank, there was 11 months of continuous disinflation. And that speaks volumes. Speaks volumes to, of course, the fact that the way of travel was one where, over a period of time, we would expect interest rates to begin to moderate if it continued in that trajectory. Unfortunately, as with many of these things, there are external shocks that you can never predict. And of course, fundamentally here, we had the shocks coming in from the US-Iran war. And that just didn't affect us, it affected everybody. Although, happily too, it affected us less than it affected most. And it's important to say this and for people to bear this in mind in anchoring their expectations. It affected us less than it affected most. One of the reasons for that, and there are a number of reasons, one of the reasons for that, of course, is the fact that we had undertaken the reforms we had a lot earlier. So that by the time the shocks came, we were able to withstand them. We had resilience and we were able to withstand the shocks. So that's one side of that equation. The other side is looking into the future. Where is this all going to go? And as I said, if not for the fact that we had this, we had projected that going into next year, inflation would have been down to very moderate levels, respectively. Very moderate levels. Now, all I can say, and I certainly cannot speak to exactly or anticipate what the MPC would do, and I'm very pleased that we have one of the members here, and I know that, in fact, two of them here, and I know that Mr. Yuguda used to be a member of the MPC and then has now become a member of the board, so he's now on two. And Aloysius, again, is somebody who is well known to the financial industry and is also a member of the MPC. Now, we have a group, very happily, of very independent-minded MPC members. Very independent-minded. And primarily, what they look at is data. So they react to what the data tells them. where they see data, and that is why I think it was the last but one MPC meeting, there was the expectation at the time that we would cut. But we didn't. We didn't cut. And believe me, we saw things that most other people didn't see. And by the time the shocks started to come out, people understood the reason why we didn't cut. So I think you can rest assured that as long as the MPC is there and moves in the direction that they have been going all these years, Nigeria can be rest assured that the interests of the country and the future of our country is in very safe hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to pivot to the FX, and you've already spoken about the reserve accretion, which is at record levels. And I'm sure that, what we do not always say is that unlike many other government institutions, the central bank is working for every Nigerian, whether he's in the village, whether he's in the city, whether he's in the air, whether he's on the ground. There is no other government institution that impacts the day-to-day life of the people as the work of the central bank does. Now, this question I'd like to ask, at 52 billion